Let's take a look at another simple composition and learn a little bit more about how the parts and pieces of Vua work. This is a composition that counts. When I press Run, it produces this, a blank window with numbers counting in the center. Let's slowly walk through what's happening, and as we go through it, we'll define a few more elements in the Vua editor. We know that information in Vua flows from the left of a node to the right of a node, from input to output, and that all information flows in one direction, downstream from output ports to input ports. So when looking at this composition, we can see that everything originates here, at the fired port of Fire Periodically. This node is quite similar to the Fire on Start node, except that it fires an event at a steady rate, and we get to set that rate here at the seconds port. It's currently firing an event out of the fired port every 1 second. Every 1 second, an event will travel down the cable to the increment port of the count node. We'll take a look at our documentation for count, and we see that it keeps track of a count that can be incremented or decremented. We can count up or down. It's important to note that this node has the ability to keep track. It has memory, meaning that our composition is currently counting, and I can temporarily disconnect our cable of events, stopping our count. Then I can reconnect our cable, and it will pick up right where it left off. A node that has memory is called a stateful node, and this is revealed by the thick border along the bottom. Notice that make text layer doesn't have a border, and is therefore stateless, and stateless nodes don't have memory. We're always going to get the exact same results from make text layer unless we manually adjust the input ports or feed new information in with the cable, which is happening here. Looking back at the count node, we also see a triangular symbol after each input port. This is called a port action symbol. Whenever you see one of these, it means that this port will affect the node in a way that's special or different. In the case of the count node, sending an event through any port would affect the output differently. The increment port would cause the count to increase. The decrement port would cause the count to decrease, and the set count port would cause the count to be reset to 0. Compare this to the make text layer node. No matter which port you send an event into, make text layer will produce the exact same layer. The only way to get something different is to input additional data, which we're about to get to. So the count node is currently receiving an event every 1 second to its increment port, and in turn is outputting an event every 1 second that is carrying the latest number as its data. Before our count enters the text port of make text layer, it enters a type converter, which reveals that our count is being outputted as a real number, which computers read differently than readable text, and then Vua is automatically converting it to text. There's nothing special you need to do to create one. If I disconnect the cable, it will disappear, and when I connect the cable, Vua will automatically create it. Vua processes many different types of data, and sometimes you'll need to get an extra node involved. If you find yourself trying to progress between two types of data and can't find what you're looking for, try typing convert into the node library, and here you'll see a significant list of nodes to help you do so. Now, our number, in this font, at this position on the window, is being rendered as a text layer and being sent outward here. That layer is flowing down to rendered layers to window, which is rendering our singular layer onto our window. Great! To learn more about Vua by building this composition, check out our next tutorial.